The House of the Sorcerer. When we moved to the new house, we thought we were leaving behind the chaos of the city for peace and tranquility. But we had no idea what horrors awaited us. The house stood at the edge of a dense forest, its windows dark and hollow like empty eyes. It had been abandoned for years, and the villagers avoided it at all costs. "It's cursed," they whispered. But the price was too good to ignore. As soon as we entered, an icy chill swept through the air, even though it was a warm summer day. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the sound of our footsteps echoing through the empty halls. The first night was quiet, but unsettling. The sound of the wind howling outside seemed almost like whispers, calling our names. At midnight, I woke up to a faint tapping sound. It was coming from the corner of the room. When I turned on the light, there was nothing there, just the empty wall. The next day, we started noticing strange things. The symbols carved into the walls weren't visible during the day, but as soon as night fell, they began to glow faintly, like they were alive. At first, we thought it was just old paint reacting to the moonlight, but then they started to change, new symbols appeared, twisting and rearranging themselves right before our eyes. One night, I woke up to the sound of heavy breathing. It wasn't coming from me or my partner. It was deep, guttural, and seemed to echo from everywhere at once. I tried to wake my partner, but they wouldn't stir, as if they were in a trance. The next morning, we found claw marks on the walls, deep and jagged, as if something had tried to tear its way through. Then came the shadows. At first, they were fleeting, barely noticeable out of the corner of our eyes. But they grew bolder. One evening, as we sat in the living room, a shadow moved across the ceiling, crawling like a spider. It stopped directly above us, and for a moment, the room grew unbearably cold. The most terrifying night began with a strange sound, a low, rhythmic chanting coming from the forest. When we looked outside, we saw figures standing among the trees, their faces hidden under dark hoods. They were holding torches, and their chanting grew louder, more frenzied. Suddenly, the lights in the house flickered, and the shadows began to swirl around us, forming shapes, faces twisted in agony, hands reaching out as if to pull us into the darkness. The final straw came when we found a blood-red handprint smeared across the front door. It wasn't there the night before, and it was too high for anyone human to have reached. We called for help, and an imam came to cleanse the house. As he recited verses from the Quran, the air grew heavy, almost suffocating. The symbols on the walls flared brighter, then began to fade one by one. The house shook violently, as if something inside it was fighting to stay. The imam warned us, "This house is a gateway. The sorcerer's magic has left a mark that cannot be erased. You must leave, or you will become its next victims." We packed our things and left that very night, abandoning the house and everything in it. But even now, miles away, we can't escape the feeling that something followed us. Late at night, when the world is quiet, we still hear faint whispers calling our names.